Hello, everyone. Welcome to another LTX webinar. How are y'all today? Let us know in the chat. You should be able to drop to us the city that you're based out of. We're always interested in knowing that, and we will get started in a couple of minutes. Assaf and Lydia, how are y'all feeling today?
Yeah, feeling good. I'm in the New York office today, visiting you and the team. Hi, everyone.
I'm doing fantastic, especially because this is my last day before a vacation. So
I'm jealous.
I know
Too.
it's been a
Hi,
hard week's work and a hard year's work, and I deserve to treat myself.
this is true. This is very true. Hi, Scott from Los Angeles, Matthew from Tampa. Matthew said, "What up? What up, Matthew?" Andrea from New York City. Alex, how are you? Medi, I am based in Stirling, Scotland. Shout out to Scotland here.
Love
Um,
it.
Ooh,
yeah, keep the cities coming, guys. We'll give it one more minute to let people get settled, and then we will dive in to all things LTX.
Miami's in the house, I see, from a couple people.
Alex says, any of you being LTX Max on Discord, give that guy a raise. That is so funny. Andy from Miami. Andy, you should connect with Tony because Tony is also here from Miami. Alrighty. Well, I will go ahead and get us started because I could honestly shout out cities all day. Welcome to the LTX Tips and Tricks webinar. Today we'll be deep diving into LTX latest feature elements, and we'll be talking more about the product roadmap and what's next with the LTX platform. I'm Malaysia Brown, Community Manager of LTX, and I'm super excited to be welcoming back a very familiar face, LTX team member Assaf Medicks, and for the first time making her LTX webinar debut, product marketing manager Lydia Moore. Assaf, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, you just mentioned vacation.
I mentioned vacation, and honestly, I really appreciate the chance to lead this webinar because for the first time that I could have an excuse to actually sit and work on the platform for a long time, and god damn, I love it.
Y'all, I wish that I could just like download all of the abilities that Asaf has in LTX like onto my brain because he is just so good at this. Lydia, we're welcoming you for the first time. Are you excited?
Yeah, super excited. My first time on the webinar and my second time in the New York office. I'm going to try and bring Asaf energy, but the jet lag is jet lag is real.
Coffee is your friend, Lydia.
Coffee is my friend for sure.
Literally. And so for everyone, just to like remind y'all, today's main focus will be Elements, our new creative hub in LTX for managing visuals across shots and scenes. And we're super excited to have Asaf here today demoing Elements. In the midst of doing that, he'll also be covering some prompting best practices and covering a couple of other new features that came out over the past couple of days. And since we last met, he'll then pass the mic to Lydia, who will be talking about the product roadmap and answering a couple of questions live. Now, I do want to mention this is not exactly a live Q&A, and the focus here today is not to answer each question asked live, but feel free to use Zoom's Q&A feature to submit a question, and based on relevance and if time permits, we will try to get to it live. For any questions that you need to get answered, I highly suggest you post them in the hashtag LTX-help channel within LTX's Discord. There you can be sure your question will be answered. And I will go ahead and drop the link for the Discord because, again, it's important to us that you all get that information. So drop in that now. That's the link to our Discord. Like I said, an LTX help channel. You can ask your questions and they will be answered. And with that, I will be passing the mic to you, Asaf.
Thank you so much. And I also want to mention that any question that is relevant but just time doesn't permit, like you said, we will try to get an answer to it on Discord like we did on the previous webinar. Um, and if you have to drop off in the middle of the webinar, we will also post it on our socials, probably YouTube because I think that's the best platform for it. But it might take a little bit longer. So if you want to stay informed, get the all the hot tips, tricks, and insider knowledge, stay on, or at least find a way to record it if you have any way of thinking like it. And I do want to hop in straight into the prompting best practices, simply because I'm not going to go deep into that. Thankfully, we have a blog post ready for you all to read. If you haven't read it, uh, should be sure to check it out. We're gonna drop the link in the chat very soon. But the main focus about the best practices, especially the way that we see them for LTX2, is that it reminds you that the cinematographer or the film aficionado is not out of the picture even when it comes to AI, right? The best practices and the way that our model works is that it needs you to know a little bit about film in order to prompt the best way. For example, when you use professional words like the camera tracks, cranes up, cranes down, and all those sorts of camera motions, that's the thing that it understands best. It understands JSON as well, but not as good as it understands proper paragraph formatting of your prompt, right? It needs to understand what's going on. It needs to not have different conflicting things. For example, a warm sunset hits the character with a cold neon light, right? It doesn't make sense in real life. It doesn't make sense in a cinematography kind of way. So the model can't really deal with it. If you tell it what genre you want, what kind of atmosphere you're looking for, if you describe the surface that you're imagining the light to reflect from, for example, a shiny, smooth marble countertop, it will understand, it will have context. There's going to be, as I said, the link to a full deep dive into what works best. But I do recommend that as you read it, keep in mind that it might be worthwhile to also use ChatGPT. That's what I've been doing for prompting and to prompt in a way that ChatGPT is a cinematographer as well as a prompt master, right? Give it a bit more of a world of context to work with. Having said that, I want us to jump straight into one of the recent releases that I think we're all very proud of, and I'm going to share my screen for that. We have elements. Now, some of you will say that I've already played around with it. I'm missing a few elements such as location. Yes, you are. The reason for that, and like everything that changes with LTX's platform, if something is not up to our standards, we will rehash it. While we rehash it, we're going to take it down and then we'll come back later. So if you have created a location, for example, you will be able to access it later. So don't worry, you still are able to access it here, as you can see. And I want to also use this as an opportunity to look at what I've done here, thinking about what I'm going to do with my elements. I started with a wide shot. I named it as a specific element. It is valley. You can see a volcano with cheese rivers. It is plastic cheese or American cheese, but still cheese. Yes, it is a diss. And I've also have various shots based on how wide or how zoomed in I want my shot to be, because I'm thinking of each one of these as a location that allows me to have continuity, right? So when I prompt this, I will prompt also show me a zoom in of this section. And then I will save this as a different location because then I'll be able to have that continuity. Moreover, let's go with edit element. As you can see here, what I've prompted, I initially prompted a dragon. You can't see it from this side. I mean, it's too small. But it's a dragon. The scales are tortilla chips. I haven't mentioned it. This is a tortilla chip mock ad that I've made. So this is a dragon with tortilla chip scales, and I also prompted create me a reference sheet with multiple poses, multiple images of the dragon, and I uploaded all of them so the model has an element that has multiple views to take into consideration. The same thing has been done here with the chip bag itself, right? We have the front, side, front, back, all the elements that I wanted. And then what I do, and this is my own flow, feel free to ignore it. I don't use the storyboard almost at all, right? I will show you I have a rough cut. I will show you the commercial, actually. Why not? Looking for the button. And it isn't perfect. I don't have a sound designer. I'm not an editor, a video editor by any way, shape, or form. But were I part of a team or were I to have those capabilities, that would be a much better ad. Right now, this is what we have.
They say chips get soggy when dipped. But not this dragon, because you are what you eat.
And me, I'm tough, but that's nacho business.
Nacho Business is a tortilla chip brand and does not guarantee the consumer will or will not turn into an awesome tortilla chips drag.
So as you can see here, we have both the location, we have the character, we have the tortilla chip. Everything has been prompted. And the way that I work, if you look at the whole video, there's nothing on the storyboard. That's not the way that works for me. Everybody else has their own flow, right? I'm not dissing the way that you work. As long as you create something, that's amazing. We love to see the creativity and the way that people think. It doesn't work for me. I'm a bit more messy. I'm trying to rein it in. But basically what I would do, and I actually have another project that works a little bit better in showing it. Did I press the right button? I hope so. Yes, it's the right project. I will have a session where I'll go here to the gen space. I have a session where I generate all of the elements. I have another session where I take those elements and I do all the shots themselves, right? Or if I see that I need another shot of, for example, because I want a start and an end frame and whatnot, that's what I'll do, right? So I'll start with elements. In this case, I started with a logo, and that was literally my prompt. I'm very lazy prompting kind of guy. A logo for a young clothing brand, embroidery, working off of that, finding the one that I like. And then I actually use this logo as an element because I want to be able to use it later on. For example, when I incorporated it in a frisbee, which is just an object within the ad. I created all of my characters by prompting and telling the prompt, and we're going to go into this. Space. For example, we have African American male in his late 20s, and I used specifically I'm pointing at my screen as if you see. I've used specifically the reference image of the logo that I saved as an object or as an element, as a reference image to what color his dreadlocks should be, right? And for consistency within this commercial that I made, we also have this same kind of logo branding for the makeup and trying all sorts of different makeup looks. Same thing for a young Scottish, shout out to Scotland again, girl. Initially, I wanted to have the freckles with her color or with the color of the logo. Then I thought, let's go with a tartan suit that's with the same color. Like that way I have the whole consistency going throughout, using the elements to inspire other elements, um, as well as the frisbee, like I said before. I do want to point out something extremely important, especially for the character elements, right? If I'll go to edit, you have the ability to have a voice for the character element. It's not something that is within the object or other element, but the voice here is not for lip syncing. You can use it as a voiceover when you create in the rough cut an audio track of that character, either inner monologuing or whatever you want. Currently, it doesn't work for lip syncing. I know some of you may have thought about it. It's something that, and Lydia could address this in the future. I think it might be on our roadmap. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not gonna write a check that she has to cash. Um, but right now, when you're thinking of how you're going to use the character voice, think of more of a narration rather than voiceover. And if I go back to the to what I did with the Nacho Business chip commercial, the voice that I used for the voiceover is the voice that I initially designed for the dragon. And the dragon, because it was generated with LTX's voiceover, it has a different voice that is not controlled by me. I'm unable to prompt it again and have consistency, so I have very few shots of the dragon speaking. So that's something that we work with. But yeah, that's mostly what I want to say about that. Something very important that is especially relevant, and you'll be able to see it for me. We have dozens, or I have dozens, if not hundreds, of generations per project. It can especially happen when you have a long project that you're working on, or a short film, but that has many shots. We now have a new feature thanks to the team led by Lydia. And yes, I'm going to give you the credit, which is the favorites in case you missed it. By the way, just a proof that VO3 is not infallible. We have a frisbee flying over. You can mark any video that you made or any image that you made as a favorite. And the thing that it helps you do is easily retrieve them when you need to. So even here, when I mark favorites, I have everything, or when I filter for favorites, I have everything that I saved. And what that lets me do specifically, or the way that I use it, is when I generate a video with a starting image in LTX2, or with a starting and end frame with VO3, for example, I will use my favorite images as the reference images, right? So if I have this image created of this woman in Hong Kong, and I have another image of her holding the frisbee, it will be easier for me to work with my favorite section than trying to go, oh yeah, I created this one here, I created this here, and keep on scrolling between all of my generations. Moreover, not moreover than that, it's more than that. You can also do the same here when you work on your rough cut, right? If you're like me, you will create everything, and as you create, you send it to the rough cut. But there are quite a lot of people who will just create everything and then go to the rough cut and do whatever they need. And also here, you can filter for favorites. It works the same. You can either look at what you have as a favorite in this project or what you have as favorites in other projects, right? The filtering is the same. And something that I know that has been bothering a lot of people is the inability to remove content. So, sorry, there was a question and it distracted me because I have the attention span of a squirrel. So right now you are able to delete assets as you go from your various projects. Honestly, because I tend to not delete anything, because I never know when I might need it or when I might want to reference it. I'm not entirely sure on how to do this. I think, Lydia, if you'll be able to show that later on, that would be amazing. Sorry for ambushing you with this. I just realized that I never deleted anything in my generations because I'm a hoarder. And that was the main thing I wanted to cover with the favorites. I will answer the question that came up on the Q&A. Does the timeline editor use up computing credits or is it just on generations? That came up also in the previous webinar, which makes it a great question because I know the answer to it. No, it does not. The timeline is retrieving data, whether if it's video, photo, or sound effects or music, it doesn't generate. And because it doesn't generate, it doesn't cost you anything to use it. Um, if on the timeline, for example, you scroll all the way to the right, by the way, some people will see it as rough cut, some people will see timeline, um, different versions, because we always change something. You will see this little generate. And once you click on it, you're no longer in the clip selection. I mean, it appears as a clip selection, but it's basically a generator, right? So you will generate here, and this will cost you credits. And I think that's it for my part. Now I'd like to transfer the mic back to our MC, Alasia.
Absolutely.
Or is it MZ, Master of Zoom?
Call me MC because Zoom still like it stresses me out just a tad. So MC will do for now. Thank you, Asaf, for guiding us through elements and favorites and all the things. I see that a couple of people are answering or asking questions in chat. Like I mentioned, we'd love if you could submit your questions to the Q&A. Thank you to whoever it was, it said anonymous, but through to the attendee who asked that question. And yeah, now we can go ahead and pass the mic to Lydia for some product roadmap updates.
Yeah, amazing. So I'd also love just to share an update that we've been working on with the storyboard, if that's okay if I share my screen.
Let's do it.
Amazing. Okay. So this isn't live yet, and it's going to come sometime next week, but we've been working on reducing the friction when creating storyboards. So I'm hoping you can see my screen. A nod from anyone? Yeah, okay, perfect. So yes, this isn't live yet, but I'm going to show you a bit of a preview. So if I go into the storyboard, this is now the new design. So it's very streamlined. We've tried to reduce the amount of clicks and the amount of kind of like things that you have to do before you can create the storyboard. So it's more of a streamlined experience. It's similar to the kind of like the starting point in which you can put as we had before. So if I paste here, I can paste in an idea, a full script, a sentence, anything that I want really. So I'm just gonna copy what I did earlier and then paste. So just a really short couple sentences about a little monster in a forest. You can also upload and drag in, if you have a full script or a document, you can do that like you could before, or you can just copy here. You can also click here with the blank storyboard, and this is a way that you can populate it from the gen space as you would before. So you have both options. Then you click next. So this is where more of the streamline experience will happen. So it's just thinking. Amazing. So everything we wanted to kind of rearrange to just one page. So here at the top, we have the settings, we've got the aspect ratio, you can change the style, and then you can also now change the model. I would recommend using Flux Premium for now. We're still working on how to integrate elements with Nana Banana, but that will work better it still works, but Flux Premium works better for now. So what this does is it's like understood my script, my characters, and it's automatically created me elements, whether that's an object, a character, or a location, which you can edit, as you can see here. What's also really great about this update is the scenes and shots have been broken down before they generate. So previously it would kind of skip this step and you wouldn't be able to see how each shot was going to be arranged or what it was going to look like. It would just generate the whole thing. So now I kind of have the opportunity to move the scenes around, to edit, to change, to delete, to add scenes before it generates and obviously consumes my credits. And then simple to generate, and then it will generate here. Once you're inside this space, it is very similar to how it was before. We just wanted to improve the flow and incorporate the elements to get to this stage. And then kind of like 2.0 will be how we can improve this as well. And then, of course, as we could before, we can edit any of these. All of the generations create in their separate sessions. And here you can see the shot navigator as we have as well. So that's a new sneak peek into like the new storyboard initiation flow that will be coming next week. And then just anything else on the roadmap, we've got a really exciting week next week. So I would definitely stay tuned for our socials. We're also going to be working on, I think Assaf mentioned it before, where elements we had to reduce the location because we didn't think it was up to scratch. The team have been working really hard on that, so we should also be able to bring that back with a more improved experience next week. And we're also looking into different styles. So within the image models, we have style presets, and we're working on a way to have a customized style. So maybe bringing in 10 or more images that you really like. Maybe you like the style, the colors, the vibe, whatever it is, you can add those and then create your own custom style for your generations. So we're playing around with that idea. If anyone has any feedback or things, like please do add them because it's in progress. But that's pretty exciting, and I'm working with the image team there. And I think there are some other things we're working on with the video team, but top secret, I'm afraid, so we can't share that just yet. But I would definitely stay tuned.
Absolutely. And we're already getting some super positive feedback. Samuel said, I'll be using Storyboard more with this update. So shout out to you, Samuel.
Ooh.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, please give us more feedback if there's anything else as you go along that you would like to improve. We did just improve like the initiation flow, but now we're working on how we can improve the inside of Storyboard next, doing one kind of like screen at a time. So please do share your feedback.
Absolutely. And I see a couple of questions. I can already tell that Assaf is like ready to dig in and give you
unmuted. I'm
questions answered.
unmuted.
I can see it and I love it. I'm so happy both of y'all are here. Assaf, did you want to kick off with the one that you answered already, or do you want me to start with a question that I see?
So first of all, if I want to start addressing Matthew Bowie. I hope I pronounced Bowie correctly and it's not Bowie or something. If it is, I'm sorry.
If it is, super cool. Great last name.
Yes, I did. So you asked for the final film. If you could share which project, is it the dragon, the brand or whatever, or the Gen Z clothing brand, let's call it this way.
He's
Oh,
really
Lydia's.
into mine, actually. I don't know why you're
Stop.
trying to make it
It's
about
not
you.
even
It's actually all
yours.
about me. So Matthew, when it generates shot by shot, so they're just image assets, and then you can go in and add movement and motion and then create the film. But just the storyboard like generator just creates still shots, so it doesn't create like the movie. You have to add the motion yourself.
Amazing. I see a couple of best practice questions coming in. So I'll kick it off with Adam. Adam O asked, what's best practice for elements to get consistent characters and objects in the generation when the character is not in the first frame? And is there any way to get the last frame, one video, to be the first frame of the next in LTX2?
So, I'll start with the latter part. The best way right now is to do a screen grab of like of the video you want. I can neither confirm nor deny that it is something that we've been asked in the past a lot, and we might want to work on it. But take it as you will. As for the best practice, the only way to do it from my experience, and if anybody from the community has other tips or tricks, we do have tips and tricks channel in the Discord, so feel free to contribute there as well. The only way to get your character in camera when it's not in the first frame is to generate the frame that you imagine as an image and use that as an end image. So you'd have the starting image with them off frame, and then the image with them on frame, and then you can simply prompt the motion, whether they walk in, they drop in from the sky, whatever you imagine, you can have that as the prompt. I will also jump to Adam's next question. Will there be any option to generate shorter clips other than 6 seconds? Because sometimes that could be too long. It's a great suggestion. Personally, I've also encountered that when I was working on those two films that I've shown, or two ads. The best way right now is to cut it in the rough cut, because you are able to split the clips, so you can generate what you want, you cut it however you want. But there isn't a way right now to generate anything shorter. I do think it is a great suggestion. I'm just gonna run through them because
Let's do it.
we have time, and why not? So keep on asking. Dan Katz asks, what is the best way to take a client storyboard and replicate them in LTX to develop lighting, camera options to show on set crews ahead of shoot date? Honestly, if they already have, and that's something that I learned from one of our community members when I was demoing to them. They're a freelancer at an ad agency in Austria. And what they did, they took their storyboard, literally the panels, they cropped them like with a screen grab and uploaded them as a reference image. And you can use that also in the model, right? With whether if you're using Flux Premium or Nano Banana, you can upload that as a reference image and say, literally, my prompt was, show me this in a photorealistic style. And you will have it as what you would be shooting on that day, right? It doesn't have to be an elaborate prompt. If you want to have it or to play with it a little bit more, I would make those generations again in the gen space, and then it would not only be show me this in a photorealistic style, you can also start playing with the camera angles, right? Or with the lighting. Show me this with neon lighting. Show me this with during golden hour. Show me this with a POV drone shot from 20 feet, or whatever you want. And then you take that and you use those shots within the storyboard itself, which can import or pull images from the gen space. I haven't found enough YouTube to help in this regard. I hope now, once this webinar is up, other people will. When are the open weights being released? That's a great question. We aim to have it this year. We aim even more to have it this month. But most than anything, we aim to have it at a high enough quality that we can proudly stand behind it. So if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. We'll keep the community updated as much as we can. But we are obligated to releasing them so that everybody can use and run LTX2 on their own machine. Can you explain how to upload images into your storyboard so you don't need to generate new elements within the software? Um, I'm not sure if we're talking about the new initiation process or the old one. Lydia, do you want to take that?
Yeah, for sure. So what I was showing before was more of the using the AI generated storyboard that then automatically populates like the elements and into shots. But you can just choose the option to do a blank storyboard, or when you're in the gen space, if you click on the left-hand side, I can also share my screen. You can send images to storyboard. So you can start from a totally blank storyboard and populate from images in your gen space. But the option that I was showing earlier was more of like the AI guided one that does a lot of the creating and populating for you. But we still do have the other option. Maybe I share my screen. So, okay, I'll just share my screen. Okay. So if I just go into the storyboard and I click the blank storyboard, this has started a new project. So there's not anything in my gen space now, so I can show a different one. But if you were to go create image in gen space, you can start creating something here and it will populate each one of your generations. You can add them here super simply, add a new shot. And it's almost like a small thumbnail visualization of what your storyboard would be. You can see it up here. You can kind of like move them around. Yeah, so you can do it this way. If I go into a previous storyboard, so this is one that's already been generated, but I can edit in here. I'm not sure if this is what you mean, or if maybe you start from the gen space and then tools. Hang on a second. Shot navigator. Here. Center storyboard. And then I can pick which scene I want to go in. So you can do it the AI generated way, or if you're in your gen space, trying to find a nice gen space. Yeah, you can go in that way and send it to storyboard. Does this help?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Lydia. So going on to the next one. Is there a way to change language written in video? So if you're referring to if, for example, you're referring to the language where in which signs appear or stuff like that, usually whatever you put within the brackets, that's what will appear in the image, right? If you want to keep the or the sign, for example, the way that it is with the video model, it needs to be, if you're using LTX2, it needs to be large. The model doesn't handle small typeface well. And if you're using VO3 or VO3.1 to be more accurate, then again, the images that you have, that's what the model will keep. I also don't recommend to use small typeface. Simply because the smaller the details or the finer the details, the harder the model struggles with, or the more the model struggles with them. But as a baseline answer to your question, whatever you prompt within the brackets or the quotes, that's what should appear in the image. By the way, as an FYI, our prompting mechanism, I think we'll call it that way, is able to handle non-English languages, right? If you want to prompt in Spanish, you can prompt in Spanish. If you want to prompt in French, you can prompt in French. It should work in most languages, if I'm not mistaken. I have tried three. I don't speak three, but I have tried three. I used Translate to check if I can if I can prompt in those languages. It works. Japanese, for example, works. And I assume that whatever you put in the quotes would stay in that language. Going to the next one, Craig. How do you get characters to lip sync to a song? Unfortunately, we still don't have the ability. We are always working on trying to have that. It's something that a lot of people ask. But lip sync to a song, to a beat, it's something that we're unable to do at the moment. Samuel asks, I'm gonna do specific into humans piloting exosuits or inside robot armor being ejected, which is the issue, more mechanical movement, I think, rather than human flowing natural movement. I think that really trying to prompt it in this way would help, right? If you have um, jagged movements or robotic movements, stuff like that, that should help. However, this is something that we or I myself haven't had a lot of experience with in prompting. If anybody from the community wants to drop some tips on how to do robotic movement or sci-fi piloting of exosuits, we would love to hear you on our Discord. We want to hear how you're doing those. This is exactly the kind of things that we want to see the community help each other. We are all here together. Um, where to go for a beginner to learn all the best practices? Here, you're in the right place. So this is a fantastic place to start. I also recommend going on our YouTube channel, listening to our previous podcast. We have an amazing blog with tutorials. We try to keep it up to date, but the only thing that moves faster than technology at this point is AI, or faster than light is AI. Things keep changing, the platform keeps changing. So if you don't see something, feel free to ask us in the Discord, hey, where did this go? We removed it, or it changed into this, or there's a better version now, you can do this. Everything changes all the time, just like Lydia said just now. Even the most basic and core function of the storyboard is changing, and we really want to make the experience better for all y'all.
Also, just to add to that, Assaf, Adam, our social media manager, does really great tips, especially on Instagram. Like he does carousels that are like really helpful, like simple tips on how he creates certain things, whether it's like characters or movements. So sometimes that's like quite handy to look at because it's written rather than, you know, watching videos on YouTube. So I'd also recommend our Instagram.
Adam in general is amazing. Like if you go for you'll go to the carousels, you'll look at the carousels, you'll stay for the amazing videos that he puts out. Shout out to him. Can I create 2D animations in a cartoon style in LTX? Yes, you can. You can do various types of cartoons. You can do I don't know how you call the paper cutting kind of animation style, like South Park. You can also do things similar to that. It all depends on your basic image and the prompting that you use. Uh, Absolutely something that you could do. I think I've seen somebody also on Instagram share how to do it. So I would also look up LTX on Instagram to see if you can find that, or we can try and find that video for you, and also drop that on the Discord or in the YouTube description.
And just a reminder, I dropped the Discord invitation link and the LTX Instagram where you can find a lot of what Lydia and Assaf have been referencing.
And if you could please, Elijah, drop the blog post with the best practices for prompting. Bob asks a couple of questions. I've only seen the first one, so let's start with the first one, and then we'll get a surprise. How common it is to download generated videos and assemble them in editors like DaVinci Resolve? etc. So you can accomplish various things. Haven't learned yet all you can achieve working only in LTX Studio. We encourage you to work with other editing platforms as well, right? We don't have an editor right now. You cannot flip it and reverse it as the song goes. You cannot change the speed. There are things that we cannot do. Exactly because of that, we have the ability, or you have the ability, we just gave it to you, to download an XML file that you can easily import into whatever you use, whether if it's DaVinci, Adobe, CapCut, whatever you use to within your workflow, we want to fit in, right? We don't want to force you to start banging your head against the wall for everything. Mixing LTX output with non-AI amazing. I mean, I love that direction. AI, the way that or my personal philosophy, AI is here to enhance your creativity and not take away from it. So any way you combine it with the way you're currently doing, and especially with traditional media, I'm all for it. I've seen people do amazing things. Uh, this is exactly the way that I believe should be done. Um, Jacqueline asks how to turn off the captions. It's in another language. Captions in AI models can be an issue. They're sometimes persistent. The best way would be within the prompt to explicitly prompt no captions, no text. I don't think that there's a better way, but if again, whatever I say, I want the community to voice up or voice out any other methods that they have, whether if it's in Discord and comments to the YouTube video. The best way I know is through negative, basically, let's call it negative prompting, right? No captions, no text, no whatever. Um, can I import logos and create a brand kit that can be used in the video? A question by Andrea or Andre. Again, blanket apology if I butcher any of your names. Yes, you can. You can import any image as a reference image and use it as the way that I did, as a style guide for any other reference image or for any generated image. Um, I saw you, Lydia, unmute, so I'm assuming you want to add on to that.
Yes, it was kind of similar to a feature that we're working on right now, which was the ability to be able to have like custom styles. So I asked the question as well with the product team whether we can kind of bring that in as like brand kits, as color palettes, as logos, so that you can kind of add that all together as a style. So essentially a brand kit. We're working on it now. At the minute, it's we can play around with like up to 10 images, but we're working on how to incorporate text with that. But I guess the two ways for now, the first way is, as Assaf mentioned, is that the image reference. So whether that's like the product or the logo or whatever, and then generate and prompt with that. But we're hoping that this new ability for like custom styles, where you can create your own and generate with those, may help with your brand kit.
Going back, if we don't do video to video, which unfortunately at this point we don't, what is the best way to recreate something that you've created in a different platform? I would try to use similar prompts and similar source images. It might not be exactly the same. There is a difference. Uh, though honestly, I've seen quite a lot of comparisons between us and the other greats such as VO 3.1. And while the style is a little bit different, in many of the cases, the prompt adherence or the end result could be very, very similar. So if you have all that data of the original reference images in the prompt, try to use the same thing. Um, which LLM runs under the hood? I don't know if I can give an answer to that. I mean, mostly because I don't know, and secondly because I don't know if that's something that we share. But I do think I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, this is for the smart people to take care of. I'm here to play with the fun stuff. Like, but that's a good question. Lydia, I don't know if you have the answer, but we could also ask it in the Discord. We have a specific Discord for
I believe
developers.
it's
Maybe
Gemini.
you believe it's Gemini? Okay. That was a very short answer to me babbling. Um, Another question from Adam. So far, we had great questions. Very often, when I use the start image using an elements character, as soon as the video starts, it fishes the start image quickly. Yes, that is an issue that should be fixed very quickly, where the first image or the initial image is shown for 1/24th of a second or 1/25th of a second, basically one frame. And basically we go Monty Python and go now for something completely different. Um, it is something that we work on. Yes, it happens. We know. We're sorry. It happens mostly, I believe, with Pro. And I mean, to be honest, I find that fast in many, many of the cases is good, if not better than Pro. Especially because I'm not a professional, so I do things for fun. So I am more lenient with some of the things that can be generated through Fast, but mostly because also it doesn't have that first image issue. We also had a question: does it work in Hindi? I believe it does. It should, but we encourage you to try. Uh, Steps to make a movie trailer, please. Well, you'd first need to have a movie. But uh, I don't think I can answer that simply because I haven't done that. Because it's a lot more complicated than creating the ads that I've been focusing on. A movie trailer would require you to, at least from my perspective, to have the actual movie first made and then to cut the snippets from it. Um, but that's something that I will leave to the community to answer on Discord or again on YouTube comments.
I also
How
just
would you?
dropped a link if you dig a little bit deeper, like onto the blog. There was something that was created a while back, and it talks through how to make a trailer video with LTX. So I'm sure, like Asaf mentioned at the beginning, lots of things are constantly changing. And I'm pretty sure this was a blog post that was written a little earlier on in our journey. But at a super high level, it can give you the beginning steps and then hop into the Discord whenever you get stuck and we can help you out.
Another question: can I use first frames with real celebrities recognizable for the model? Of course, I have permissions and rights. I'll be 100% honest with you. I do not want any problems with the legal department. Um, if you have permissions and rights, I do not see why not. However, this is not legal advice. Uh, I think, as far as we're concerned, you can do anything that you have rights to. For LTX2, we have relatively little censorship on the model. So anything that you have the rights to and the agreement of the person that's within the frame that you're using, and that you are compliant with the terms and conditions as we have them, uh, I think you should be able to do. But again, this is not legal advice. I refuse to be held accountable to that. Um, do you have tutorials or course that you recommend to become an LTX expert? Um, Again, YouTube, Instagram right now. Uh, I highly recommend asking questions within the community. and helping each other. We have people creating amazing things, whether if it's videos for songs, whether if it's like just short films, all of that. I think you should be using the community as a resource and helping each other out. We have not a question, I think, exactly from Nathan Fogel regarding an issue with XMLs. I was not aware of that on XMLs in Premiere. That's something that we should take to product. Thank you for bringing it up. We'll check it out and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Will more of the video generation choices offer end image specifications in the future? So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lydia, here, LTX2 that's something that we work on, right? For the models, the start and end frame. But we don't have an estimated shipping date for that yet.
We don't. We've been working on it. Keyframes, shot control, being able to have the start and the end, and then creating the middle. It's in process. We're working on it, but it's quite a hard one to do.
And we want it to be good enough, which is the main theme here. We don't want to ship things that are incredibly underwhelming. Okay, Craig, I tried to animate a logo and the generator cut off the first and the last letter to doctor. I went past 8 seconds. What might I be doing wrong? I would be very, very happy to help on Discord, because I want to see exactly what was your prompt, what was your image, what was the model that you're using, like all of these. So please hop on to Discord and write everything, because I can't give advice without knowing everything.
Yep, and we're at the 2-minute mark, Asaf. So I was thinking that we could get one last question answered and bring it back to elements. So go ahead.
I also want us to touch on the competition.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so where is the question about
So
elements?
Samuel asks, let's see, answer it live. Can you edit your elements after you make them? I've been making new characters each time.
So my experience is when you edit, you basically just regenerate the image. I correct me again here, Lydia, if I'm wrong. This is the way I've been using it. I do want to say that if you want to use an element in more than one project, the way to do that would be to duplicate the project, and then you would have the elements already within the new project. So you duplicate the project and then you just delete everything that is not the elements, and you can basically have continuity in your story and just have less clutter.
Yeah, I think that's a good one as well. As you mentioned, to duplicate the project to keep the element. You could also take the image that you use to create that element in the gen space and make the changes that you want, depending on what they were to that change, whether it's a character or an object, and then create a new element within that project or a different project. So I'd probably do it that way.
Okay, and I think the last thing would be Alasia, regarding the competition before we wrap
Yeah,
things up.
absolutely.
And any questions that were not answered, we're really, really going to try and answer them on our Discord. I think we will also try to put them on the YouTube as in the description, just to make everything as accessible to everybody.
Absolutely. So, last thing we wanted to mention, Our LTX2 Elements Discord community competition started a couple of days ago. So we are challenging our Discord community to create a 1-second shot using LTX2 and Elements to show us what's possible when storytelling meets AI video. So we are requiring everyone to, like I mentioned, create a 20-second shot. You have to use the character feature in Elements. You have to use the object feature within Elements. And then we also have the opportunity for you to earn bonus points when creating and competing in this competition. So electing to use things like camera movement, changing your lighting, character movement, object interaction. There's so much more. It's all listed in the Discord. And there are different categories that you can compete in. So whether you create something based on the VFX category, cinematic, or action, we're just looking for you to bring your best ideas to life. So we are giving away 3 different category winners. For each category, you are winning 90,000 computing seconds, and just for participating, you are getting about 11,000 computing seconds. So again, hop into our Discord to get all of the information about the competition. The deadline to submit is November 18th. We will be announcing a winner November 21st. So November 18th deadline, winners announced November 21st. You can submit your project name and category and all of those things for the competition, again, within the Discord. So definitely use that link that I dropped in the chat. And we hope that you participate. And other than that, this has been an amazing webinar, another one in the books. Thank you all for those of you who are still here, who joined at the very beginning and are leaving right at the end. We appreciate your participation. Thank you again, Assaf and Lydia, for presenting, and we hope to see you all at the next Tips and Tricks webinar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.